This is the Earth Science Classroom. This channel is dedicated to educating and going through all different types of earth science topics, subjects, curricula, methods, examples, case studies, and really just engaging the students in everything that the Earth has to offer in terms of physical sciences, biological, chemical, physical. So we all combine into earth science and how the Earth functions and works. So this channel really is the education of students, instructing them on how our physical planet works, from oceanography to atmospheric science to geology and the Earth's interior, to the formation of the Earth, to the origin of the Earth and the Earth's history in geologic time, and going into astronomy and our place in the solar system and how we began in terms of our location compared to the sun, and then our place in the Milky Way galaxy versus the universe and how that started with Big Bang Theory. So really it's an extremely all-encompassing umbrella subject that is done primarily in the middle school grades in the States. It's done as geography or physical geography in Europe and England and Australia with different variations of geology. And really it's not done that much in the States in the high school level. So the perception of earth science is different to, let's say, a biology or chemistry. Whereas those are the more traditional sciences, where the earth science is more of a side mention rather than a full-blown science in high school. So that is a battle for us earth science teachers to get over the perception of the students when they come to our class versus a biology class or chemistry class. And it's also our job to instruct on this massive subject and how the Earth works, which is daunting because the planet is huge and it's got millions of working pieces and puzzle pieces to make this huge system function every day, and has done for the last 4.6 billion years, and how that system changes over time with different feedback loops and systems, and how things evolve into more functional processes. So then you get these kids in my class that throughout the year, they would just start to state or ask questions that were along the lines of flat Earth. Now, flat Earth has been around since the 50s. It's not really been anything new. However, the emergence of the internet, social media, various online platforms where anyone can say anything to the whole world, and this has been a kind of explosion of information that people have at their fingertips, which they can gather, and anything that's trending or become viral online, let's say a person says something very controversial or says something that's inappropriate or says something only for the purpose and benefit of becoming viral and trending and becoming very famous for a short time. That happened with many variations of the flat Earth, and people were starting to see this a lot in social media. Now, a lot of the students could see this and think it's funny or fun to say to an earth science teacher like myself, who is very passionate about how the Earth works and teaching students about how the Earth works, and then saying that to me and seeing my reaction. And this happened for many years. And my reaction has evolved over time. My reaction would be very sudden, very like, you can't be serious, or you must be joking, or I would just ignore the question altogether, and a student would be ignored. Now, that could be right or wrong, but I've evolved my response over time because I had this more consistently. I've been able to accept that these students are going to say things like this, whether they're full-blown flat Earth believers or they're just seeing stuff on social media and repeating it to see what I would do. Now, over time, my response has evolved into more of a discussion, more of a conversation with the students, because I want students to be engaged. I want them to be part of the classroom. I don't want them to feel they ask a question and they'll be ignored by me. I don't want that. So any question, be it along the lines of what I'm teaching or something maybe on a tangent that's off base a little bit, like, maybe a flat Earth question would be, then I would discuss it. I would involve the students and ask them to discuss it. And really, my main thing is ask them to explain. Can you explain what you're saying? Because what we do as science teachers all day long is try to explain in different ways what we're trying to get across, the information we're trying to put across to the students. We explain it. We use labs, demonstrations, examples, case studies, videos, quotes, the scientific method. We use other people's ideas, and we amalgamate it into trying to teach the students what we're talking about. So when it comes to the flat earth statements from students, I love to hear them, because they sometimes get more ridiculous as time goes on, or they try and actually back up what they're saying from what they've read or seen online or in a documentary. Now, I'm not saying that we should accept what they're saying, because the bad thing is nowadays students sometimes use their opinion, and whatever they say as their opinion becomes fact, and that's a dangerous tightrope to walk, because very rarely is your opinion purely fact, because opinions are what they are. Everyone has them, and they are based on bias and agenda and being subjective. However, even the brightest scientists in this world and historically have said things and had to prove what they were saying. Alfred Wegener, had to prove that continental drift was a viable theory to explain how the continents had moved apart since Pangaea. And he had to prove it. He couldn't just say it, he had to prove it and use evidence and use the scientific method to put across to his peers that, this is what he's saying in theory. So what I want to hear, let's say the best one for me is, what happens when you go to Australia and you're the other side of the earth, you're on the southern hemisphere? Do Australians and people in New Zealand just fall off the earth because they're upside down? They're down under? And I love this question, because I try and explain to them I show them how gravity works. I draw them pictures and diagrams, and I interact with the students and try and get them to understand that gravity is consistent and that it is a force of attraction towards the center of the earth. And as a sphere, that center of the earth is in a 360-degree angle around that sphere. So trying to show them, but then they say, well, the earth is flat. Then I say, okay, fine. Well, then how does gravity work in a flat earth situation? And I want them to think. I want them to become critical thinkers. They may say something that is different than the norm, that contradicts the textbook or contradicts the current way of thinking. And that's what science is. Science began this way, with someone contradicting or discussing or even questioning how things work, how people do things. Can we improve our understanding of how something works? We used to think back in the ancient times of Roman and Greek empires that humans would do something bad and anger the gods, and that's how a volcano would erupt, or how a hurricane would come over the coastline, or lightning strikes. As a human race, our knowledge through science and math has progressed through the centuries, using proven scientific method and techniques to hone our skills to figure out how this planet and astronomy, how this planet works physically, biologically, chemically, and how it works together. And we still don't know everything about the planet. We still learn things every day. Now, will we learn in the future that the Earth is flat? Maybe not. But I want those students to not be completely ignored when saying this stuff, even though it could be completely crazy, some of their ideas, like the sun's a torch, or the moon's a projection from the Earth, or there's a huge ice wall around Antarctica, and all these things like night and day, and how time zones work, and gravity, and meteorology, and winds, and how even, go to Alaska in the winter and it's completely dark. But how do you explain that? How do you explain all these day-to-day physical, natural processes that we know and understand? How do you explain it in a flat earth situation? Because that, to me, if students can come, or even people online can come and say exactly how everything works today, how this planet works in a flat earth situation, I will be more open to a scientific discussion, to talk about it, and maybe see the evidence that they provide. But I've seen a few videos, I've seen a few documentaries, I've read a few articles, and I don't see anything that comes close to any kind of hard evidence. It's just what they say is the truth, and unfortunately that doesn't work in the scientific community, and we seem to play down both the mathematical and scientific minds because we seem it's too complex, it's too complicated. So we want to somewhat dumb it down for the masses to understand. So rather than trying to understand the beauty of a spherical Earth with beautiful processes and complex interactions, let's just say it's flat and make it very simple. Well, if that was the case, why do we ever leave our caves, during the caveman era? Why do we ever try and make fire and make the wheel and make our amazing discoveries and inventions over the last 1,000 years? What's the point if it was going to say that, oh, we don't care about this science and math malarkey, let's just call it flat? Where does this believe in science come from? Belief and believing in something is completely different to science. Science is not belief. Science is a different entity completely. You can believe whatever you want to believe. That's absolutely fine. Please, if you have experience with this, you're a teacher, science teacher, earth science teacher, and you've experienced with a student who's been saying various flat earth statements or is a flat earther, please leave a comment below, and I'd love to discuss it with you and see what you did, how you reacted, how you handled the situation, and also the student, how they reacted and responded, because it's great to have an interacting class, students that are critically thinking and problem solvers, because that's what you need in today's society, not just people are going to follow the leader and be drones. We want people to be free thinkers and question things. So leave a comment below, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Thanks. This is the Earth Science Classroom. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the content. Check out more videos on our channel, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you again.